So as I was doing a little bit of exploring online, I stumbled across VG Charts. Now, VG Charts has been known to provide some pretty interesting information regarding console sales before in the past, so I do trust what they have to say on here. So on the post here from VG Charts, if we go look at it, it has a chart of how many units has been sold, comparing itself from the first 6 weeks of launch of the Nintendo Switch, the PS5 and PS5 Digital Edition, the Xbox Series S, as well as the Xbox Series X. Now, if you look at this chart, these are really impressive numbers. The PS5, that includes the regular PS5 and the Digital Edition PS5, has actually sold over 4.1 million units. We look at the Nintendo Switch, the first 6 weeks was almost 2.5 million units, and the first 6 weeks of the Series S and X is over 2.2 million units. Now, these are some really impressive numbers all around. Man, when I first seen this, I was like, oh my god, that is an insane amount of consoles sold in just a short amount of time. That was my first thought. But then the second thought that came to mind was the question: how many of those units were actually bought by scalpers? Now, I don't think there's a for sure way to come out and be like, oh yeah, scalpers bought this many consoles. I mean, if we go back to articles that I've read, there was a scalper group that had purchased like over 3,000 PS5s, just them alone, and scalper groups that had bought over just 1,000 Xbox Series S's or X's, just one group alone. Crazy amounts of consoles bought just by scalpers. I kept thinking about that. I tried to do some research, and there's not no for sure way, to determine. There's not no for sure way to determine how many units were sold or purchased by scalpers. But I decided to just, still try to research it. And an article that I came across on Gaming Intel, it states on here that over 60,000 next-gen consoles were sold on eBay alone. Now, this goes back to November all the way up to the very start of December. So, this is information that goes all the way back to November when the consoles first launched. We look at the numbers here. Over 60,000 next-gen consoles were sold on eBay alone. So this is just eBay. This doesn't include, people trying to sell it on the Facebook Marketplace or other online websites. I guess you could do it on Amazon as well. This includes over 25,000 PS5 consoles, over 7,000 digital edition consoles, PS5 digital edition consoles, over 6,000 Xbox Series S consoles, and over 22,000, almost 23,000 Xbox Series X consoles. Approximately 30,000 Xbox consoles, as well as a little bit over 32,000, almost 33,000 PS5 consoles. That is an absolutely insane number. So it's like, even though these consoles sold like great within the first 6 weeks of launch, you got to think how many of those consoles were actually purchased up by scalpers. But if we do the math, over 60,000 next-gen consoles were purchased by scalpers and sold on eBay alone. Just eBay. This goes back to the first month of the consoles being out on the market. So it's like, that number is going to be higher. And then if you take into account, people trying to sell it on the Facebook Marketplace, I've seen several people try to sell, PS5s and Xboxes, Xbox Series S's and X's on the Facebook Marketplace for outrageous prices as well. So you think about that, and then you think about, the other websites that you could put PS5s up on and Xboxes on, right? It's just got to be an insane number. I definitely would say over 100,000, hell, maybe even 200,000, probably even beyond that. It's good to see that the console is selling well, but at the same time, it's like, how many of those units were actually bought by scalpers? I don't know. I would really like to know the number, but there's not a for sure way to determine how many consoles were actually purchased by scalpers. There's not a for sure answer to that. I don't know if I need to say this again, but please, for the love of God, man, do not purchase consoles from scalpers for these outrageous prices. Anyways though, guys, thank you for tuning in to this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please go ahead and smash like. It would be super greatly appreciated. I love y'all. Stay beautiful. Don't go ugly on me. And I'll see you all in the next one.